It says enter the length of the password. I say 20 for example. Password contains lowercase. Yes. Contains uppercase. Yes. Contains digits. Yes. And contains symbol. Yes, I want symbols too. And as you can see, our program made this password for us, and it shows it green because it's a strong password. This is the CSharp program that you will be able to build by the end of this video. A customizable password generator in the CSharp. This tool lets you choose the password length or enable lowercase, uppercase, digits or symbols in your password. And at the end it will check how strong the generated password is and show the result in the console with different colors based on the strength of that password. For coding this program professionally, we should split it into the smaller parts and code each part in the different function. So for this program we will have 4 main functions: get user settings function, generate password function, evaluate password function, and at last print result function. With all being said, let's start coding. For writing this code cleans, I make a password settings class. This class acts like a container. So here I say public class password settings, curly braces open and close, and I say prop int length for the length of the password, and I say prop, this time boolean, and I name it is lower for the lowercase. Prop boolean is upper for the uppercase, and I say prop boolean is digits. And at last prop bool, and I say is symbol. So this is our container for password settings. I want a function that returns password settings, and I name it get password settings. Parentheses open and close, we don't need to get anything. Curly braces, and between them we say password settings equal new password settings, and parentheses at last. And at the end we should return these settings. Say return the settings. But between these two we should get the values from the user. To make this code cleaner, I make a special function for that. I want this function to return an int for me. The name of this function should be get length. Parentheses open and close, and between curly braces I say console.foreground color, and it equals console color dot green. And printing the console for us, enter the length of password. I make an int variable named length, and it's equal int.parse console.readline, and I say console.resetColor to return the text color to the default, and at last I return the length. So here in the get password setting, I say setting.length is equal get length, and that's it. And now for the other options in the password settings, I make a separate function because all of them are boolean. So here I want another function that returns a boolean for us. The name of the function is get yes or no. This function gets a string message, and we say curly braces open and close, and we change the text color again. We say console.foreground color console color dot yellow, and then I print in the console what we got from the message. Bool result is equal console dot readline. If it is equal yes, then please return the true for me. Otherwise return the false for me, and semicolon. And reset the color of the console again. Reset color, parentheses, and return the result for us. And now I say settings dot is lower equals get yes or no, and we write password contains lowercase question mark, and the user should answer with a yes or no. I copy this line and paste it, but this time instead of is lower I should say is upper. And here I do this for the digit, and I say is digit, and here I say digit. And at last for the symbols I have a symbol, and instead of lower I say symbol. And by the way, we don't need the case for the two last ones. So now our get password settings function gets all the options from the user and now return it as a class. We say password settings, and we call our function get password settings. Now we make our password generator function. We want this function to return a string for us, so we say a string password generator. This function needs the settings, so we should give it to it. So we say password settings, name it as the settings. And now inside this function, we make a string builder and name it password. This equals new string builder and parentheses. And then we define a string lower, and it's equal all lowercase alphabet in English. I remove this and I make another variable for the string upper, and this time it equals all the uppercase letters. And next we have a string digits. As you probably guessed, it should be equal the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and semicolon. And at last we have a string symbol, and I give it the symbols that we want to have in our password. And here I make another variable, string builder all equals new string builder and parentheses and semicolon. And now we should check with the conditions. Here we say if settings is lower, if it was true, all append the lower first and semicolon. I copy this and make another one. This time I say is upper. I say append the upper to the all. This time setting digit, and I say append the digit for us. And at last we have the symbols, and here we say symbol. I say append the symbol for me. And now I should check something. I say if all.length is equal to 0, then we should return an error to the user. For this job I make another function. I say void print error, and this function gets a string called error and curly braces, and here we say console.foreground color equals console color.red and console.writeLine, and we say print error for us. And at last console.reset color. So if all.length was equal to 0, we should call the print error. Print error, and for the message I say you must pick at least 1 and semicolon at last. Now we make a for. We say for int I equals 0 until I is less than setting.length, and I say I plus plus, and curly braces open and close. But before this we should say random rdm equals new random parentheses and semicolon. Now I say each time append to the password, and I say all, and between them I say rdm.next, and I wanted to pick between the letters of all variables, so here I say all.length and at last semicolon. Now I should return my password. I say return password.toString and parentheses. I call this function and let's test it. I say a string password is equal password generator and parentheses, and we should give the setting to this function. And now we print the password that this function made, console.writeLine and password. I execute this code. My password length is 10 It contains lowercase, yes. It contains uppercase, yes. It contains digits, yes. It contains symbols, and yes. And as you can see, this is my password. So this program made a 10 letters password to us. And now we should evaluate this. Now that we made a function that generates a password for us, we need to make another function to evaluate the strength of the password for us. So here I delete this line and say I want a function that returns a string for us. The name of the function is evaluate password. It gets the string password under square brackets. The string result equals nothing for now. And I say int score equals 0. And I check with the conditions if password.any, and between parentheses I say char dot is lowercase. So we check with this condition if the password has any lowercase, we say score plus plus and semicolon. We copy this and make another condition. This time we say if password is upper, and again plus plus. And another condition, this time we say if password is digit, and again score plus plus. The symbol one is a little tricky, we should use lambda. We say if password.any, and we say p equal greater than sign, and we write the symbols that we had here. And now we say dot contain, and we give the p here. And at last we say if the condition was true and password had one of these symbols, we say score plus plus and semicolon. We can check one more thing too to evaluate our password correctly. We say if password.length is greater than 11, for example, and then we say score plus plus and semicolon. And now we should turn the int score to the string result. So we say result equals score switch curly braces open and close, and we say if score was less than 2 or equal to, we say return for us weak, and we say if it was 3 then return for us medium, and if it was none of those we say return for us strong. It means our score is more than 3. And at last semicolon, and we return the result. Okay, so let's test this part. Here we say the string evaluate equals evaluate password, and we give the password. And we say console.writeLine print the evaluate for us. And I want to see the password too, so I say console.writeLine print the password too, please. Now execute this code. It says enter the length of the password. I say 20, for example. Does this password contain lowercase? Yes. Uppercase? Yes. Digits? Yes. Symbols? Yes. And as you can see, it generated this password for me, and it's a strong password. And now for the final part, we want to show them proper to the user. We want to show the password red if it was weak, and yellow if it was medium, and green if it was strong. Okay, let's code this part. I delete this and make another function. This function is void, and I say print result. This function gets two values. First, a string password, and second, a string evaluate. Curly braces open and close, and between them we say console.foreground color equals evaluate switch, and between the curly braces I say if password was weak, we say return for us console color dot red, and if it was medium, I say return for me console color dot yellow, and at last I check if it was a strong console color dot green, and I print the result console.writeLine $, and we say your password is, and curly braces open and close, and I say password. Now I copy this code and paste it, and instead of password I say evaluate. Now I copy this code and paste it, and instead of password I say evaluate. Now the only remaining part is calling the last function. So here I say print result and semicolon. It gets two values. The first value is password, and the second value is evaluate. Now let's execute this code. I execute this code. It says enter the length of the password. I say 20 for example. Password contains lowercase, yes. Contains uppercase, yes. Contains digits, yes. And contains symbol, yes, I want symbols too. And as you can see, our program made this password for us, and it shows it green because it's a strong password. You can have the source of this CSharp program for free in Azra's GitHub. The link is in description. And also you can check this playlist to see more CSharp projects. Don't forget to check my Discord, it's a friendly community for programmers. Like and subscribe if this video was useful for you, and see you in the next video.